program is proudly brought to you by Datec PNG Limited.
In this session of Infocus, we are joined by Solomon Wesley Sua, Chief Executive Officer and Director for the Pacific Artificial Intelligence Consortium Limited. We discuss the promises and practicalities of artificial intelligence and machine learning in Papua New Guinea. Solomon Wesley Sua, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Malcolm. Thank you, EMTV, for having me on another show.
Okay. Firstly, Solomon, can you explain what is artificial intelligence and machine learning, and how do they differ from traditional programming?
Artificial intelligence is like computer thinking like a human person using human intelligence. The traditional programming is you do a coding that says that is static, it doesn't change. It says that when X happens, then Y will be the outcome. So that's the difference. Here we are now having AI that will react to what natural languages and response that we put in.
How does machine learning fit into all this?
Machine learning is a component of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is like the broader scale. Machine learning is the learning part of it. What artificial intelligence does is that it looks for patterns. It looks for like a data set and sees what is the pattern and what are the, so it can predict the future and then it can work out. So it is like continuous learning. It's not like you put a programming in there and it is responding to it. This one is like, it is smart enough to talk to you and then it can learn. So that's the machine learning, meaning that the machine is learning at the same time it is responding to the person. So artificial intelligence is like the broader group, and then within artificial intelligence we have machine learning and deep learning and all this within the AI. So what they do is that they give us the response at the same time learning. Previously, they may have small data sets. And then as we communicate, then they're learning now, it's responding to this. So, for instance, we might say that where is Papua New Guinea is a broader one. Then AI says that, no, it is in there. And then you drill down to like certain provinces and electorates and all this. Then machine learning is like learning all this now. And then the next time you ask for information, then it can give you a better one because it is already been learning. So that's the machine learning but within artificial intelligence.
Now, Solomon, are you aware of any usage and applications of artificial intelligence and machine learning in Papua New Guinea currently?
Artificial intelligence is not something very new, maybe 70 years, 80 years old. What has happened is that it has evolved over the years. Like it wasn't that smart, then it adds some intelligence to it, and then continuously coming on. So now we have things like Siri and things like ChatGPT and all these are like they're coming to an advanced stage. So in the PNG context, there are already systems that are already in there that we are using unknowingly. Artificial intelligence is already doing the work. So it is not like something, a huge product that you would go and see in a showroom and saying that, this is what we are bringing artificial intelligence. You don't see something like a product or a thing that will say that this is an IBM computer, this is a Apple Macintosh or all of this. And these are the products that you see. This thing, what we call artificial intelligence, is like something that is evolving or it has already been in part of our life. So PNG immigrations may be using one to process the visa and services. They're already use cases then, but what is missing is the artificial intelligence, the framework, the legislation, the security, the governance and the compliance part at the government level. These are what is already missing. So when we use things like artificial intelligence, Microsoft Copilot or ChatGPT, these two are Microsoft is an American company and also OpenAI, the ones who are giving us the ChatGPT. So these are, when it comes to data sovereignty and all that, they don't reside in PNG. They are in data centers in, let's say, USA. So those are the parts that are missing, but the actual product we are already using it. So without knowing we're already using it, it's already becoming part of us. Next time when you type an email, you might say that it predicts what the next sentence you might put in. So all of these things. So We are already using it, but at the level where government drives it with legislation and frameworks and policy, I think that's the part that is missing. But the actual capabilities, we are already using it.
Now, Solomon, given the push by the government to make agriculture the primary sector in Papua New Guinea, how can AI and machine learning be utilized to optimize production, for example, crop yields and reduce losses?
Yeah, agriculture is the backbone of our country's economy. When we never had LNG and all the other minerals and all this, there was like Panguna and few other mines. At that time, Papua New Guinea was relying on agriculture, and today still most of the population relies on agriculture. Where artificial intelligence come in is it can detect, let's say, as you said, crop yield. How can we maximize the production? So with artificial intelligence, you can, let's say, you see a Wagi Valley. I saw in the paper today, like Wagi Mek, one of the biggest plantations there in the Jiwaka province, is operational. I saw. So now the valley is big, fertile land there. So with artificial intelligence driven at the government level, probably the Department of Agriculture and Livestock, they can utilize AI where it will see historical data, like what has been collected over the years, maybe the last 50 years. So data may be structured, maybe not structured. It is in a repository, maybe physical papers. All of that need to be digitized, and then AI will look back in time and will work out patterns and see that what month of the year the yield is best, what rainfall patterns the country experienced over the years. So those factors that affect the yield and production, AI will then look back into the historical data and see what are the patterns. And then, because it will look into the future, the historical data, then it will know, it can predict the future. And then it will give models that say that, look, this is the model that Papua New Guinea needs to do in the next 50 years to maximize the production of coffee, for instance. So it might tell them that, look, these are the right seasons that coffee needs to come on, and we need to have maximum production when the price is right. So it looks at the global coffee prices, it looks at all of the factors, and then that's where the intelligence, like the human intelligence come in. So this is like coffee research officers and all of that, they can do that. But the thing is that our capacity, though we can do, like scientists say, 300 trillion calculations per second, there are other factors that limit our processing power, our brains. So with artificial intelligence, then it can look back within minutes and see what are the next. So then it do advice. It becomes like the strategic advisor to the government or the Minister of Coffee, for instance. And then the Minister of Coffee will now have the right information to advise NEC cabinet that, look, these are what artificial intelligence gave us. So in the next 10 years, this is what we are predicting. So that's where AI can come in. It looks back and then look at the historical data. And then going forward, machine learning will start learning now. So whatever the artificial intelligence predicting, and when the real data came in, is it really what we predicted or not? So the machine learning now learns on how going forward. So in that way, we will know what we call a precision agriculture. So you know what to do to get your maximum yield. So reduce cost and, like we say, do more with less.
Now, a major sector in the country that's currently under a lot of challenges is the healthcare sector. I'm curious to get your thoughts. What role could artificial intelligence play in improving healthcare delivery in Papua New Guinea, especially in remote areas?
Malcolm, that's something very critical, because at the moment we have 500 or 600 doctors. And for a population like 12 million, 10 million, you're looking at 500-600 doctors. Then the ratio could be, you work out the ratio. That's proportional, kind of disproportionate in a way our doctors can serve the population. And then because of our geographical challenges, maybe infrastructure is not there. So that's where artificial intelligence comes in. And what it does is that, let's say a remote hospital somewhere in Western Province or in the mountains of Enga or Hela, they will have one or two people manning that. And then they can, using their mobile phones, they can do triads. The specialist doctor can be in Israel, can be in Australia, in Port Moresby, and then they can connect through like telehealth or telemedicine, where connected through a digital means like video calling in, and the doctor specialist can see what the patient is like, and then it can do prescription and all that. So we can leverage that one. So then all the data is collected and put in. So the next time the similar case appears, there will be like a dashboard report also coming out and telling the 8-post orderly or a nursing officer somewhere in a remote area where there is no specialist doctor. They can look back and AI can tell them that, look, these were the medications. This was a similar case like this happened, and the last time they gave that medication, the patient died. So now you have to change that medication and you try this one. So AI is now learning to advise the APO that, look, the last time this medication didn't work, so now you can do. And then it looks at globally on how the drug is being utilized and what are the success rates. So all of that can be done very quickly within minutes with AI. So the times of them calling, getting the phone, call the doctors in Port Moresby, sometimes the network is down, all of that will be a thing of the past. When AI goes in, then it can. So it doesn't really replace the doctors, or because physically you still need somebody to lift a patient up. It's not AI coming in lifting you up. So that part is still there. It's just that when they want to do their job and triaging diseases and all that, AI can quickly help them to say that, look, these are the medicine combinations that will give them better what. So then by looking at the picture of the patient, AI will know that some symptoms it can try. It is that intelligent that it can really work out what kind of sickness is that. So in a way, it's like it's helping a doctor. Most of the time you go to a hospital, you will see a doctors carry a very small booklet. So sometimes when they want to be quickly have a waste bag or so, they pull that one out quickly. That is like a guide that is helping them. So AI is the digital version of that particular book they're carrying, but that book, they have to flip it through all the pages. This one is within seconds, then it will tell them that, look, you give this to amoxicillin may not work, so go for another medication. So that's how fast it can do. So yeah, that would be a very big boost for our healthcare sector. So again, back to policy, I saw the Department of ICT come up with the artificial intelligence policy framework. So that is something good. I also had read, but I read that one also. So we like putting our comments in. We have to get that quickly happen, and that one will now give the framework. So what models of AI can the Department of Health be running, because healthcare is like critical data. So if healthcare data is like goes in the hands of a wrong person and that is exposed, then the Department of Health will be in big trouble, because they can be sued for leaking out information. So these are serious things there, but AI is there too. But it's just that we have to have the right framework and the security governance and the compliance of it, then put it in, and that should really help the Department of Health.
Now, Solomon, given Papua New Guinea's endowment in natural resources, which is quite rich in diversity and variety, how can AI and machine learning be utilized in managing perhaps resources such as fisheries and forestry?
That's this another critical question, because fisheries like agriculture and sector, they influence, they contribute immensely to our country's economy. So Papua New Guinea has like vast resources, like probably one of the biggest stocks of tuna we may have in the region, or other species of fish and all that we have. So when we say artificial intelligence, it's like a smart computer. So what the smart computer need to do is that it needs to see some set of data. So in our natural resources, even in our mining sector, all of that, there are repositories of data that is already in-house. So what AI need to do is that it has to access that particular data store, find out what is in there, what is missing, what are the patterns, and all of this it will work out, and then it will advise the government officials involved, saying that, look, these are the patterns that you can rely on to make some predictions about what your future production, future sustainable efforts and all that. So it is there to really uncover what is hidden in those data sets that we have. Every year we're producing logs of files and papers and all of this. And if you go to some of these government server rooms, some of them you can even hardly go in because they have stacks of paper one after the other over these years. So what intelligence does is, AI does is that, just imagine AI as a person goes into this very big dusty room. And because it's not a human person, it doesn't have this feeling of emotional part of it. So it just goes in, check whatever it gets. And it just like goes in and says this magic word and the papers keep flying out and then it gets it. So that's the kind of technology. So it will help a lot, both in the existing projects, like in the mining sector, as well as exploration with the data and then with the different patterns of, let's say, rainfall, let's say other elements of a natural environment. Then it may give some clues of where the next exploration can go. So this is where AI can be of very big influence. So again, back to the policy and the legislations, we will have to have specific legislations of how AI will then assist, like the mining sector, like the agriculture, like the fisheries or forestry. AI can look from satellite images, the entire forest in the country and say that, look, this forest is, you can go, and it can work out how many logs we can extract and how much money we can make quickly. So that's the kind of broader, with the satellite imagery connecting into, let's say, AI models, then it can work out where to have the next forest logging company in and all of that. So that's the potential that we have, and we are slowly moving into the right direction. So there is a huge potential in especially the extractive industry.
Now, Solomon, there's no doubt that artificial intelligence will have its impact on education, particularly the education of our children and kids. How can educational institutions in Papua New Guinea prepare students for careers in AI and machine learning?
That's something very critical, Malcolm, and that has two parts to it. One is the education part, where educators come in, providing the right infrastructure and the course contents and all that. And the other one is the students who are attending the schools, the ethics of it, the morality of like AI. Are they be allowed to use like chatbots when giving assignments? Or I'm already seeing this, like in the house. My daughter, after school, she would come back and say, please, Daddy, can I use ChatGPT? I have an assignment. And like I looked at it and said, no, that's not what you do with your assignment. You have to read books and all this. So these are the challenges there. And today's, if you like take a survey in one of the schools, all the kids will say that I've used ChatGPT in one way or another in the assignments. What that degrades is, it degrades the intelligence of our students, because they are not thinking critically. When we were going to school, I remember we have to go to the library to flip through all the books, and they would give some codes, and then we would. I don't think kids these days are going to the library. They are coming to the house, they're asking for ChatGPT and Microsoft Copilot and all this. So there's a challenge there. So now the schools have to look at what they're already offering. Like I see some still teaching the school students to write in cursive writing. You know, these are things of the past. You don't teach them. Or sometimes we might dissect the grasshopper in some remote schools. We don't need that. We really need to go with the pace of what technology is going. So courses like AI, cybersecurity, data security, data technology, all of that has to be offered, not at a complex level, but at primary school and all that. They have to introduce these courses. And the fact is that they will still use ChatGPT. So how do you walk around the morals of that? Do we continue to give assignments, or is there any other better alternate that can replace the issuing of assignments? Homeworks, because now you give an assignment, they might do it with ChatGPT. So do we continually say, don't use ChatGPT and you give the assignment, or do we come up with another alternate, newer model of educating our children that doesn't involve assignments? Because assignments, then they are going away from ChatGPT, the temptation of using ChatGPT to. Now you can even scan the entire document and feed it into AI to give you all the answers. So then you see, and then the students going in, so plagiarism and all these things will be on the rise. So the government really need to look at new ways of introducing course contents. And the traditional ways will not help us to go into the AI and ML era that we are entering into.
Now, Solomon, that's a good segue into my other question. It's around skills. What skills do you say would be most demanded in the future, particularly in light of the development of artificial intelligence and machine learning?
Yeah, that's another critical one. You still need your, when you go to UPNG, you still need your, let's say, calculus skills, and you still need your computer programming either in C++ or C# or all of these things that we are doing. That's still okay because then you are developing your brain in. So we cannot say that because ChatGPT is here, so shut down all the courses that we normally crack our minds on. No, these are very good because that is building our critical thinking. When it comes to artificial intelligence, there's a thing called prompt engineering, and that will be another big field that people will be experts in prompt engineering. That is like telling AI what to do. Because in AI, if you have a broken system, even if you put in AI will not solve it for you. So broken system meaning if you don't have anything working right and then you want to do it, you have to get your policies, framework, all of that right. So what AI does is that one. So the prompt engineering skill sets, students need them because you have to put the right prompts into AI to give you the right results. If you ask him for garbage, AI will give you garbage. That's the kind of thing, garbage in, garbage out. What you really need to do is that you have to fine tune your prompts into AI to give you the better. And then it comes with things like natural language processing, NLP. What that does is then usually computers understand in zeros and ones, bytes and bits and all that. If you talk like a normal person, then computer will not understand you. But now with AI and artificial intelligence, we have the natural language processing capability. But even you say something in Tok Pisin, AI knows and it can translate into English and then give you a website or application to run. So then comes back to like application development. So you still need those coding skills, and when you go to school and all that, you still need those coding, cybersecurity, all those skills on how algorithms work. You will still need to know, because now we come to a stage where it's no longer you have to be an expert to do a coding. Yes, you can do that, but now AI can do coding for you. So meaning that you want to write an election system, AI can write it for you, and then if I am putting in a prompt as a cybersecurity expert, then I will have the cybersecurity mindset to tell AI to do that. But if I don't have the cybersecurity mindset, AI will come up with a code that someone can break in. So that's where you need those skills of coding, skills of business, lawyering, all of that. You still need those because AI will work with the expert. So you have to be an expert to advise another expert what to do. So that's the kind of combination that we need. So if you are not smart to know your field, and then AI will not all of a sudden put like journalism or like cybersecurity or like all of this into your our skill set overnight. You have to train them. So with years of experience and all that you have, then AI and you can combine to do these things efficiently and quickly. So those skill set, you still need them. You still need your lawyering skills. You still need your journalism skills. You still need, if you don't have your journalism skills, you may tell AI to write an ISO 1 report somewhere in India or so. AI was writing it, but they forgot to, there's a footnote that AI put, they forgot, so ChatGPT, they copied that as well and put it on the newspaper. So when they print it, it was not the journalist's original piece of writing. It was assisted by ChatGPT. So you have to have those skills to communicate with ChatGPT or any AI model to give you the right what you want. So you have to be an expert to talk to the expert. Then you will get a product that is another expert-oriented and developed product. Otherwise, AI may not understand you, and we might get something that is substandard of what you don't want. So that means that our skill sets need to be there. It's just that we look through the schools like curriculums and remove those outdated syllabus and curriculums, and then update it with what is like my earlier point in, do we continue to give assignments, or is there any other way to do it that we can crack the students a little bit harder in doing more research to do their work? These are the kind of things that the education authorities and the governments need to question, not only in PNG but in our region and of course globally.
Solomon Wesley Sua, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Malcolm. Thank you, EMTV, for having me on the show, and then thank you for the time, and looking forward to another one.
Well, viewers, that ends this episode of Infocus. Do join us again next week, Monday, on our regular time slot of 7 p.m. Till then, good night.
This program was proudly brought to you by Daytech PNG Limited.